Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
Snakewood and that person. Big shout out to SPI, Spotter Low. You know I'm in the black box. Had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned. All that.
Greetings, Jeter to the Google gang and all those peekabooing. Y'all see the title. I second that notion. He couldn't hold Dr. King's coat. I don't care what nobody got to say. But with no further ado, let's see what Pastor Freddie Haynes III has been up to.
Don't talk to us about celebrating the death of people when you have been celebrating the death of Palestinians, laughing about it, mocking it. You have no moral high ground, MAGA.
Have you thought about the fact that this week in Utah, a white Christian got killed by a white Christian? And then the next day, HBCUs were under threat. Now, how'd we get in it?
Black boys hanging from trees and every
That was the voice of Dr. Freddie Haynes III, pastor of Friendship West in Houston, Texas. We're going to get into all of what he said, but isn't it funny? Isn't it funny that when white-on-white violence occurs, white people turn their rage towards black people? We didn't have anything to do with that person killing Charlie Kirk. And yet here we are, the recipients of that backlash, of their desire for revenge and reciprocity. And isn't that just like America? Now, this clip from Dr. Haynes is a little bit long. It's like 5 minutes long. So if you don't mind, I'm going to play a portion and respond to what he says, because what he says is so rich that we have to dig deep into it. Listen in.
Get your theology together, because the sad thing is we live in a nation where twisted, toxic theology is poisoning the politics of this nation. Have you thought about the fact that this week in Utah, a white Christian got killed by a white Christian? And then the next day, HBCUs were under threat. Now, how'd we get in it? I mean, that's called white-on-white crime. You came the wrong Sunday if you thought I'm sorry, I see y'all are real sophisticated and you look really good. I hope they warned you about me, okay? Because on this Sunday, we gonna keep it 100. On this Sunday, we gonna...
Nah, Elder, keep it a Google, preacher.
Tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And so here they are. Here they are. In Utah. It's more of us in church than in Utah. We ain't got nothing to do with what they just did.
Seriously, folks, we have black folks in particular And I will extend that even further. Tyler Robinson is responsible for Tyler Robinson. And if there are any conspirators, co-conspirators, they are the ones that are responsible for it. Republicans are trying to move this into collective punishment for something an individual has done. Now, I want you to think about this logically, both as it applies to the black community as well as to the broader progressive, leftist, liberal, Democrat, anybody who's not MAGA, essentially, even never Trumpers. If you slow down and think about what they're trying to do, they are trying to ensure that any single thing done by anybody against any of them in this country of 330 million people, everybody who is not them has to pay the price. Can I say that again? MAGA, Donald Trump, Stephen Miller, J.D. Vance, and all the rest of them are trying to ensure that anything done by anybody in this country of 330 million people against MAGA will trigger collective punishment, which is a war crime in terms of war, but it is also immoral and illogical, but it is absolutely what they want to do. They want to be able to penalize and punish people who had nothing to do with it simply because, well, that's what they want to do anyway. They're not just so angry about the murder of Charlie Kirk. They want to harm us anyway. They want to constrict our rights, our freedoms, our ability to vote, our ability to be free. And even some are calling for our lives to be taken, calling for public executions.
We took the same oath to defend our country against all enemies, foreign and domestic. These leftists are our enemies. Give or take 3 years left. If you call for a civil war, the conservative veterans in this country will take our country back from the evil left. We use words, they use bullets. Mr. President, I implore you, call for a civil war. Call for a civil war and let us do our thing. Let us go door to door, street by street, and clean this country.
Murdered. So here's my message to the President of the United States. I'm not going to say that I speak for everybody else or anybody else. But as a taxpaying citizen of this country who has spent years being attacked by the vile left, we want true justice. So give us the green light or handle it yourself with the military. Each and every one of them. All of them. We want public executions because you see, it hasn't been freedom for all in this country over the last 5+ years.
I know she ain't say 5+ years. After we have a 500+ year legacy of no freedom. Well, not no freedom, but you know, she said 5+ years. And she's never had anything but freedom. The audacity.
Want to harm us anyway. They want to constrict our rights, our freedoms, our ability to vote, our ability to be free. And even some are calling for our lives to be taken, calling for public executions. Let's listen to more from Dr. Freddie Haynes III.
A white Christian gets killed, murdered, not assassinated. We're going to tell the whole truth today.
They ain't going to like you for that, Pastor. You keeping it too Google.
Martin King got assassinated. Malcolm X got assassinated. Medgar X got assassinated. Don't compare Kirk to King. Ain't no such comparison now.
No, there is no comparison of Charlie Kirk to Dr. King. That's for sure. In fact, Charlie Kirk despised Dr. King. And later in his life, he made it his life's purpose to dethrone Dr. King from his hallowed position in the moral pantheon, not only of the United States of America, but across the globe.
We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. And Kirk's self-described very, very radical view that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. As we note in the piece, Kirk has previously described Kirk as a hero and a civil rights icon. It's true. I used to be wrong. What inspired Kirk to shift his view on MLK? Why does Kirk think that MLK is a bad guy? When Kirk says that MLK says, quote, one good thing he didn't believe, what does he mean by that? Why does Kirk believe passing the Civil Rights Act was a mistake? Now, again, apparently they don't listen to the show because we do that at least once a week, right? Once a week we talk about why the Civil Rights Act was a mistake.
In the moral pantheon, not only of the United States of America, but across the globe, that is the position that Dr. King's assassination placed him. Not only his assassination, let me correct myself, Dr. King's life's work. Dr. King received the Nobel Peace Prize during his lifetime because he worked for peace. Charlie Kirk worked to divide this nation along the lines of them versus us, powerful versus powerless. And so there is no comparison between Charlie Kirk and Dr. King, that is for sure. But if you would allow me to disagree with my esteemed colleague in the faith, Dr. Freddie Haynes III, and with many of you who have already left comments who don't like that we call it an assassination. But by the definition, the glossary term of assassination, it is the killing, the sudden killing or planned killing of a political figure for political reasons. That's an assassination. And I understand that a lot of people don't want to apply that to it because the word and the term itself, assassination, gives a veneer of legitimacy or validation or martyrdom. But that's not necessarily required. The word itself is a structural word. It captures an act, a political act of violence. It does not itself.
See, I like the way he break down the word because that's how I apply the English language to conversation. What does the word mean? And if you use it in that context, then you were saying this. So if that's what an assassination is through and through, we can't argue with that.
What it is we're so used to the good people in our country and on our planet being assassinated. I think that's what it is. Ultimately, we are so used to the quote unquote good people being assassinated that we have only ever associated it with the deaths of actually good people fighting for good causes. That was not Charlie Kirk, and that's why so many people do not want to apply that word to Charlie Kirk. But it was an assassination by the definitional sense of the word, a politically targeted killing of a public figure. But unlike the assassinations of Gandhi or Dr. King or Malcolm X, it does not canonize Charlie Kirk's cause with martyrdom. It doesn't sanctify him, or it does not give him historical legitimacy. It just simply marks the violence of the act, and it does not retroactively sanctify his life. As the preacher said, how you die does not redeem how you live.
Let me hasten to say, I'm anti-political violence. Kirk should still be alive. I don't agree with the time with anything Kirk said. What Kirk said was dangerous. What Kirk said was racist, rooted in white supremacy, nasty, and hate-filled. But he still should be alive. He still should be playing with his kids. He still should be experiencing the love with his wife.
He say that. I don't understand how anyone that is everything he described should be doing anything he's describing now. Like, of course, it's not up to us to say when you're not, but if you're no longer here and the creator is the one who decides when it's time to go, who are we to declare what he should be doing? It's like, even though he's trying to make a bold statement, he's still softening his son. Who is he saying that to? Are you telling God what this man should be doing? Got to be careful, Pastor.
Should be experiencing life as he saw it. I don't want anybody, please hear me well, anybody to be victimized by political violence when I'm going to keep it a buck.
Yeah. That part. And we must be able to hold that dichotomy. Again, I'm not going to moralize or grandstand or lecture people who have been celebrating. I said in my last video, and I mean it, your morality is your choice. As for me and my house, we would never.
Celebrating or not celebrating does not speak to one's morality. If that is indeed the case, every time you sing the stanza, the bombs bursting in air, then it speaks to moral corrosion of everyone that participates in singing that chorus.
Celebrate the assassination or the murder of anyone, not just out of a sense of morality.
And you're in a place of worship that is dedicated to the Bible. And in the Bible, slaughter and victory over the enemy by death was celebrated a multitude of times by the people of God.
The thing I will say again that I said in the last video, as a matter of strategy, when you're dealing with people who are rabidly desirous of harm.
Just think about David and Goliath, bro. This is one of the first stories everyone gets taught. And it was a time of great celebration for David to knock a man down with a rock, walk over him, take his sword, and chop his head off, bro. They told us this is babies. What do you mean? Then another memorable story, God's children walked to Jericho, marched around, and all the walls came down and crumbled everybody, and we celebrated. Y'all crazy.
It's like October 7th. One of my biggest issues was that whoever planned October 7th from the Hamas equation literally handed into the hands of the most evil regime on the face of the planet the moral high ground that they needed to kill almost 700,000 people as of the last count. And when you consider how Stephen Miller, Donald Trump, and J.D. Vance have made it clear, we'll play some of their clips. I'll do another video. It'll be in this episode. They've made it clear, and along with most of MAGA on social media, they have made it clear that they want to punish everybody. Now, we understand that they are going to try to do that anyway. But I would simply advise everyone on our side of the equation, it's too late now. It's already done. The die is cast, but never put into the hands of your rivals the moral high ground, either through political violence or through the celebration of political violence. We can do both. We can
It's crazy. These are Christian people talking like Jesus and John the Baptist were not crucified. And it was political violence. It goes along with the plight you say you own, man. You can't have the diet version, the diet soda version of the Christian experience if that's what you own. Let me just let them keep building.
Simultaneously say Charlie Kirk should still be alive, abhor the violence, but Charlie Kirk was not a good man.
Because one of the things that gets me, and we got some politicians in here, I'm going to tell y'all, I'm going to come for you if you ever say this. If you ever say, America, we better than this. You lying. You lying. We ain't better than this. America was born in political violence. America committed political violence during the slave trade. America committed political violence when black bodies hung as strange fruit on southern trees. America committed political violence against the Irish, against the Italians before they became white. America committed political violence when America passed Jim and Jane Crow laws. What do you think political violence was? Political violence when they bombed and massacred Black Wall Street, when they massacred Rosewood, when they massacred whites and blacks in Wilmington, North Carolina. Well, what do you think political violence is? Martin being killed, that's political violence. John Kennedy being killed, political violence. Robert Kennedy being killed, political violence. And you gonna say we better than this? No, you can't fix what you won't face until you look in the mirror and say this is a violent country that has done violence to too many people. We will never get our act together. It's time to repent, because if my people called by my name humble themselves and pray, turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, forgive their sin, and heal the land.
You preaching?
Come on, we better than this. No, we ain't. We ain't better than this. We ain't better than this. But to get better, you got to acknowledge what's wrong.
I like that he really preaching and not. This is what preaching is supposed to sound like, man. Clear, concise, powerful, and passionate.
Good God Almighty, I'm going to get to what Dr. Haynes said in a minute, but 2 Chronicles is what he was quoting. If my people, this is God speaking through the book of 2 Chronicles, if my people who are called by my name would humble themselves and pray, not atheists, not agnostics, not believers of other faiths, but if God's people, the Christians and everyone who believes in God, who
it was talking actually to the Israelites. That is a scripture referring to the children of Israel.
Who are called by God's. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll preach on Sunday. Let me get to this political violence thing, because he's out.
You're going to preach from a biblical standpoint, brother. Why don't you preach on the Sabbath, the holy day, the seventh day, Saturday, the one that was blessed in the fourth commandment? Just a question, just ask out of curiosity.
Absolutely right. The United States of America was born in violence, and the record of its birth, the birthing of this nation, is written not in myth, but in blood.
He said that. I don't know if that was on purpose or if that's where they got the title. But if you haven't seen it, go check out Birth of a Nation, man. It's a very, very good movie about the revolt against slavery.
In the lives that were taken and stolen, in the lives that were genocided, in the lives that were enslaved. This nation was born in political violence, and political violence has been the case ever since. So no, we're not better than this. To say that we are better than this is to deny that lynching trees once carried and bore what we call strange fruit.
They got some strange fruit in Mississippi right now, today in 2025.
And that those roots still run underneath the streets of every city in this country. Assassinations of prophets, Dr. King, Malcolm X, and presidents John F. Kennedy and his brother Robert Kennedy, not Jr. That man's a mess, his daddy. Reminding us that this is not the exception, but this is the rule. This is the recurring refrain. This is the hook. This is the chorus on repeat in this nation's hymn of bloodshed. Every single massacre that Dr. Haynes just mentioned, America wants to forget Tulsa. America wants to forget Rosewood. America wants to forget Wilmington. But it repeats, it echoes the exact pattern of denial, because forgetting is the very mechanisms by which white supremacy protects its fragile ego and sense of false innocence.
Just whitewash the past. Keyword white.
White supremacy in this country must pretend as if it is completely innocent. Everyone has to make Charlie Kirk completely innocent. He never did anything wrong. He was a perfect saint. He was a perfect Christian. Meanwhile, the bile, the bigotry that was coming out of his mouth.
Imagine we live in a time where we have this evidence of what Charlie Kirk actually thought and said, and they want us to respect the forefathers of this nation. We have no evidence of all the casual things that spewed out of their mouths, but we know they were owners of slaves. So just imagine some of the things, some of the vile, derogatory, downright dirty, nasty things they have said about us, and they want us to sit here and respect the faces on the dollars and the coins. If you don't get the fuck out of here with that, well, shit.
You have to 100% ignore the people who were hurt the most by Charlie Kirk. And this is what America does. This is what supremacy does. This is what Zionism does. They can't even see the world through the lens of the eyes of a child in Gaza. And don't get it wrong, neither could America. There's been plenty of children killed by the United States of America. Ask Tamir Rice, ask Emmett Till. But over in Israel, they can't even see the world through the eyes of a child. They will look at the emaciated bodies of children and not even care. Not only do they not care, but they laugh. Don't talk to us about celebrating the death of people when you have been celebrating the death of Palestinians, laughing about it, mocking it. You have no moral high ground, MAGA.
Bro must be a preacher too.
America cannot allow itself to see through the eyes of those who they seek to dominate, because if they ever did, it would collapse their myth, their belief, the stories that they tell themselves that they are good. And they would have to look at the very long historical record of the political violence that this nation has wielded against everybody. That's not a white, conservative, rich person. And there's a lot of people who don't realize they've been oppressed. A lot of white folks who don't realize that they have been oppressed by this system, because even though they're so poor, they can't even get their teeth fixed. But so long as they are white, and so long now that they are MAGA, they don't realize that they are oppressed, but that's their problem, not ours. The truth of the matter is that this nation was born in political violence. The truth of the matter is that this country has long ignored the ramifications of their actions, because if they ever allowed empathy, this is why Charlie Kirk didn't believe in empathy, because if you ever allow empathy into your heart, what is empathy? To see the world through the eyes of someone else. And if you ever allow yourself to see the world through the eyes of someone else, especially someone that you have been hurting, then something triggers on the inside of you. Whether it be guilt, whether it be acknowledgement,
I thought empathy was summed up by saying, put yourself in their shoes.
Whether it be just simply admitting that you did something wrong. If empathy ever comes in, then the entire kingdom of evil and bigotry and cruelty begins to crumble. And so they need a hermetically sealed bubble from empathy so that they can continue to carry out their historic and consistent and cyclical political violence that they are now gearing up again to commit against everybody that's not MAGA. I need you to hit that share, that like, and that subscribe button.
I told my son no regrets, as long as he gave his best. And it's cool to spend a little, but to say the rest. First rule of nature, take care of self, cherish health, be wary and careful with who you share your wealth. Suggest to get accustomed to making sacrifice, and that's advice from one familiar with the facts of life. Told him I support him, always there for him, promise, but he'll never know no love like his mama's. Remain humble, always guard your gift, it's easy to find trouble, it's so hard to miss it. Pay attention, be careful what you take for granted. Acknowledge God, a higher power had to make the planet. When it comes to romance, first thing, know a woman could be the best or the worst thing for you. Real men tell the truth, they never gossip though. Stand for something knowing nothing is impossible.
I knew you was gonna be important. Anyway, I wanted to be somebody you could look up to.
About raising a black boy in America. Growing up, I didn't always understand in the way that I do now. Always keep your hands where they can see them. Don't move too quickly. Take off your hood when the sun goes down.
With these words of wisdom, I will write my son. Won't bullshit with him, I won't bite my tongue. Admonish him to follow his visions instead of religion. Sound backwards, but receiving ain't better than giving. Forgive those that wrong him, but never forget him. For a coward to be dead is much better than living. At age 17, I was headed for prison, and that's pathetic, so we got to make better decisions. It's natural for men to go together with women. Be cautious of anyone that try to tell him it isn't. The man, he understand how to handle this scandalous system. They stack the deck against the black man and gamble against him. This evil world, even police can be horrible people. Make sure we know there's a difference between moral and legal. When approaching proposition, you should question it properly. No question it properly. You should consider investing it properly. Get it?
You listening? To bring the property value down. They can buy the land at a lower price, then they move all the people out, raise the property value, and sell it at a profit. And what we need to do is we need to keep everything in our neighborhood, everything black. Black owned with black money. Just like the Jews, the Italians, the Mexicans, and the Koreans do.
You and the people around you seem to be like always in danger. You know, you could be killed as you walked out of here, because this happened to a lot of people in the Black Panthers and all the black movements. And like, can you be sure that your movement, are you strong enough now, you know, that are you going to go on? Is the Black Panthers, if you are killed?
We're not worried about them killing anybody. And you know how the story goes. You know, they had a chance. Wiping out power is what's got them in the mess they're in now. Wiping out power is that's what's got the Black Panther Party on their asses. You know, because they wiped out so much power. So I think they're about tired of wiping out power. They wiped out Martin Luther King and they wiped out Malcolm X, you know what I mean?
No, I don't worry. I tell you, I'm a man who believed that I died 20 years ago. And I live like a man who is dead already. I have no fear whatsoever of anybody or anything.
Wasn't that personal? Big shout out to SPR, Spotter Low. You know, I'm in the black box. Had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned. All that.